Why is it that millions of people have studied manifestation, read endless books about the law of attraction, practiced affirmations, and still end up feeling stuck in the same patterns of frustration? Why does the promise of limitless creation so often collapse into disappointment? There is a forbidden puzzle hidden at the core of manifestation, a piece that has been ignored, suppressed, or misunderstood for centuries. And it is this missing piece that makes the difference between a life of waiting and a life of unfolding. People have been told to focus, to visualize, to desire with all their heart. The paradox is that the very way most people try to manifest ensures they never succeed. Think of it like a locked safe. You are told there is treasure inside: wealth, love, purpose, freedom. You are given a key that looks convincing. Affirmations, wishful thinking, lists of desires. You insert it into the lock, you turn it with hope, and the door does not open. You try again, harder, with more emotion, more intensity. Still, nothing shifts. Frustration grows. You wonder if perhaps the safe is empty, if manifestation is a lie. But here is the hidden truth. The safe was never locked. The key was never the point. The door opens only when you stop rattling it with force and instead learn how to step into the frequency that unlocks it effortlessly. This is the puzzle. The real science of manifestation is not about force, not about demand, not even about desire. It is about state. The world rarely tells you this because it is uncomfortable. Desire sells better than discipline. Techniques appear easier than identity. People would rather be promised that writing their goals on paper will summon reality than face the truth that reality only reflects who they are being. The puzzle remains hidden not because it is complicated, but because it is too simple for the mind addicted to complexity. You have been conditioned to believe that if something does not work, the answer is to add more visualizations, more rituals, more affirmations. But more of the wrong key does not open the door. The missing piece is not quantity, it is quality, coherence, alignment. Without these, no amount of wishing can change the field. This is why so many feel caught in a cruel paradox. The harder they try, the further the goal seems to drift away. Like chasing a shadow at sunset, the pursuit itself ensures the distance remains. They are told to believe it into being, yet beneath the surface of their belief lies doubt, fear, and lack. And the quantum field does not respond to words, it responds to vibration. You can repeat 1,000 times, "I am abundant." But if the core of your being vibrates scarcity, the field mirrors scarcity back to you. You can visualize love every night, but if the frequency within you still radiates unworthiness, the field collapses into more loneliness. The hidden science of manifestation reveals this brutal precision. The universe is mercilessly honest. It does not give you what you say, it gives you what you are. Now here's the twist most people never hear. What appears to be failure in manifestation is actually proof of its perfection. The reason you do not receive what you asked for is not because the process is broken, but because it is flawless. Every delayed outcome, every unanswered prayer, every moment of frustration is evidence that the field is functioning exactly as designed. It is reflecting the coherence or incoherence of your state. And if that feels heavy, it is also liberating. Because it means the power was never outside you. It means you are not at the mercy of luck, divine mood, or random chance. The only missing piece has always been coherence. But here is the open loop that pulls us deeper. If manifestation is not about desire but about state, then what exactly is the state that collapses reality into form? What is the mechanism that turns infinite potential into concrete experience? Science whispers its answer through the equations of quantum mechanics. Mysticism sings the same answer through ancient teachings of being. Both point to a hidden architecture of reality that is waiting to be remembered. And once you understand it, the puzzle ceases to be forbidden. It becomes the most natural truth of all. At the very edge of science, there is a principle so strange that even the brightest physicists wrestle with it. The world you see around you, solid, stable, familiar, does not exist in that way until it is observed. Before observation, Everything is only potential, a shimmering cloud of possibilities, particles vibrating in multiple states at once. This is the essence of Werner Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You cannot know both the position and momentum of a particle at the same time, because until it is observed, it exists in probabilities, not certainties. In other words, reality is not fixed. It is fluid, malleable, and waiting for the observer to decide which version becomes real. Think about that. The chair you are sitting on, the room you are in, the very breath you are taking, all of it exists as potential until your consciousness collapses it into form. This is not spiritual poetry, it is the architecture of quantum physics. Reality does not pre-exist as a rigid machine, it arises in the moment of observation. And this is where manifestation enters the story, because the question is not whether the field responds to observation, it always does. The question is, what state of observation are you bringing to the field? If you observe from a state of lack, the wave collapses into more lack. If you observe from a state of fear, the wave collapses into more reasons to be afraid. If you observe from a state of wholeness, the wave collapses into evidence of abundance. The field is like a perfect mirror that has no choice but to reflect the frequency of the observer. This is why Neville Goddard's teaching that you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is not philosophy, but physics in action. The observer's state is not optional. It is the blueprint that instructs the field how to collapse. And here lies the secret that most people miss. Desire itself is not the observer. Hope is not the observer. Even visualization, when rooted in longing, is not the observer. The true observer is the state of being that you embody in the moment of awareness. The field does not care about your words. It cares about your coherence. You may say you are abundant while vibrating lack. You may pray for love while vibrating unworthiness. The words dissolve into static, but the state always broadcasts clearly. This is why so many attempts at manifestation fail. They are trying to collapse one frequency while broadcasting another. Science confirms what mystics have said for centuries. Studies on quantum entanglement show that particles separated by vast distances can still influence each other instantly, as if they are connected beyond space and time. The same is true of you and your desires. The version of reality you long for already exists in the field, entangled with you. But entanglement does not mean inevitability. The collapse only occurs when you embody the state that matches that version of reality. Until then, it remains a probability, shimmering just beyond your reach. This is the real meaning of the God state. It is the frequency of wholeness, the state where nothing in you contradicts the outcome you seek. In that state, the observer and the observed are indistinguishable. You are no longer trying to get something. You are already the vibration of having it. The field has no choice but to collapse accordingly, because coherence has been achieved. And once coherence is achieved, manifestation is not an act of effort but a byproduct of alignment. But here is the puzzle that remains unresolved. If coherence is the secret, how do you generate it? How do you move from scattered thoughts, from stress, from doubt, into the state that aligns perfectly with the outcome you desire? The mind alone cannot do it. Thought is too fractured, too unstable. The missing ingredient is not found in mental effort, but in physiological harmony. When the heart, the brain, and the body align into one coherent signal. And this is where the hidden science becomes visible, because modern research has already proven how coherence can be created and measured. The question now is, are you ready to learn the missing ingredient? For centuries, people have believed that if they could just think hard enough, pray with enough words, or focus with enough intensity, the universe would respond. But thought alone is too fragile, too scattered, too easily hijacked by fear and doubt. You can think of abundance in one moment and then spiral into worry the next. The signal becomes unstable, like a radio jumping between stations, producing only static. The field cannot respond clearly to a fractured broadcast. This is why so many efforts at manifestation feel inconsistent, because the missing ingredient has always been coherence. Coherence means alignment. It is when the signals of the heart, the brain, and the body harmonize into one unified rhythm. Science shows us that when this happens, the electromagnetic field generated by the heart expands and becomes more organized, and the brain begins to synchronize with it. In this state, the entire body vibrates as one coherent signal instead of fragmented pieces. Mystics described this thousands of years ago as union with the divine, while modern researchers call it heart-brain coherence. Different language, same truth. Coherence is the hidden ingredient that turns potential into reality. Consider what happens without coherence. The heart beats irregularly, the nervous system floods with stress hormones, the mind races between past regrets and future fears. Even if you visualize abundance, your body is still radiating survival signals. The field does not collapse according to what you want, it collapses according to what you are. A scattered state collapses into scattered results. A coherent state collapses into coherent reality. This is why gratitude, love, and presence are such powerful states. They bring the system into order, projecting clarity into the quantum field. But coherence is not just emotional, it is physical, measurable, and deeply practical. Studies at the HeartMath Institute show that when people enter states of appreciation or compassion, their heart rhythms shift into smooth sine wave patterns. The brain then synchronizes with this rhythm, creating an optimal state for perception, intuition, and creation. In this state, the body is not sending mixed signals of fear and hope. It is broadcasting one clear frequency. Imagine the difference between a broken orchestra where every instrument plays a different tune versus a symphony in perfect harmony. Only one of them can move the audience. The field responds in the same way. This also explains why affirmations often fail. If you repeat, "I am abundant," while your body vibrates anxiety, your words are out of coherence with your state. The field mirrors the state, not the phrase. When coherence is present, no words are needed. The signal is already complete. This is why some people manifest effortlessly without endless rituals, while others struggle for years. The difference is not luck, nor divine favoritism. It is coherence. The body aligned with the heart aligned with the mind aligned with the state of already being. And here lies the incomplete puzzle that leaves the mind restless. If coherence is the missing ingredient, how can it be cultivated deliberately? Can you generate coherence at will, instead of waiting for fleeting moments of joy or inspiration? The answer is yes. There are precise ways to use breath, focus, and embodiment to shift instantly into coherence, to send a unified signal into the field. This is where the hidden science becomes a living practice, and the next step is the revelation of the ritual itself, the practice that takes coherence from theory into direct experience. Knowledge without practice remains an incomplete circuit. You can understand coherence conceptually, you can nod in agreement as science and spirituality weave their evidence together, but unless you embody it, the field does not move. The missing ingredient must become a lived frequency, not just an intellectual one. This is where ritual enters, not as superstition, but as structure, a repeatable pathway that carries you from fragmentation into alignment. The embodiment ritual is not complex, nor is it reserved for mystics or advanced practitioners. It is simple, direct, and powerful because it bypasses thought and speaks directly to the body, the heart, and the field. Begin by finding a quiet space where your body can rest without interruption. Sit with your spine upright or lie down comfortably, but keep your awareness awake. Close your eyes. Let the external world dissolve into the background. Now inhale deeply through the nose, drawing the breath into your belly, expanding your chest, filling your lungs fully. As you inhale, imagine that you are pulling the quantum field into your body, all possibilities, all potential, entering you with that breath. At the peak of the inhale, pause for a moment and silently declare within, "I live." This is the recognition of existence, the acknowledgement that you are not separate from the field. You are part of it. Then exhale slowly through the mouth, releasing with control, letting the breath flow like a steady stream. As you exhale, whisper silently to yourself, "Incoherence." This is the anchoring, the embodiment, the alignment. With each cycle, the breath becomes more than oxygen exchange, it becomes a decree. Inhale, I live. Exhale, incoherence. Inhale, potential. Exhale, alignment. The body relaxes, the heart rhythm begins to smooth, the mind quiets, and gradually the signal you send into the field shifts from scattered noise to coherent vibration. Repeat this rhythm for several minutes. At first your thoughts may wander, your body may resist, but the breath will guide you back. Each cycle builds upon the last, layering coherence into your state. Soon you will feel the shift not as an idea but as a presence, a subtle hum of alignment moving through your body. The nervous system calms, the heart expands, the mind feels less like a restless chatterbox and more like a still lake reflecting clarity. This is the embodiment ritual in action, simple, accessible, but powerful enough to collapse potential into form. The real magic is that the ritual is not performance, it is identity training. Every time you breathe in this way, you are teaching your body what coherence feels like. You are training your cells to memorize alignment. Over time, coherence becomes less of a practice and more of your natural state. You stop doing coherence and begin living coherence. This is what Neville Goddard meant when he said to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not about pretending. It is about rehearsing until the rehearsal becomes reality. And now comes the moment to anchor this, not just in your body, but in your community. The comment you type is not just words. It is a signal, a public declaration, a ripple across the field that others will feel. Type in the comments, "I live in coherence." Each comment strengthens the collective resonance. Each word multiplies the vibration. What you embody alone is powerful, but what we embody together creates a wave that spreads further than any of us can see. Still, there remains one obstacle that threatens to undo even the most powerful practice: the cycle of waiting, of watching the external world to see if it has shifted yet, of slipping back into doubt when the mirror takes too long to reflect. To truly live in the God state, this cycle must be broken once and for all. And that is what we will uncover next: how to dismantle the trap of delayed reality so that coherence becomes not just a practice, but a permanent way of being. One of the most seductive illusions in manifestation is the idea of waiting. You practice a ritual, you declare your affirmation, you visualize your dream, and then you wait. You look outside yourself for proof, scanning your circumstances like a scientist peering through a microscope, searching for evidence that the universe has responded. Days pass, weeks pass, sometimes months. When the external does not shift as quickly as you hoped, doubt creeps in. You begin to think perhaps the ritual failed, perhaps you did not focus enough, perhaps you are not worthy. This is the trap of delayed reality, the belief that manifestation happens in the future rather than in the present. The truth is that waiting itself generates delay. The moment you embody the frequency of waiting, the field mirrors it with more waiting. The future becomes a horizon you never reach, always one step further away. You think you are practicing patience, but in quantum terms you are broadcasting postponement. And the universe, flawless in its honesty, collapses reality to reflect exactly that. This is why so many people feel stuck in cycles of longing. They are not actually manifesting, they are practicing delay disguised as hope. Think of it like tuning a radio. You do not beg the station to play your song. You do not sit in silence, hoping that eventually the music will drift through the static. You turn the dial until you reach the frequency, and instantly the music flows. There is no delay in the broadcast, only delay in the tuning. Manifestation works the same way. The music of your desired reality is already playing. The God state is already broadcasting. The question is not whether the station exists, it is whether you are tuned to it right now. This is why every so-called failure of manifestation is actually proof of success. Each time you experienced lack, frustration, or delay, it was evidence that the field responded with absolute precision to your state. You were tuned, but to the wrong frequency. The mirror was not broken, it was flawless. The disappointment you felt was not punishment, it was feedback. And once you reinterpret failure as feedback, you gain the power to shift. The trap of delayed reality dissolves the moment you understand that manifestation is immediate, because state is immediate. Science supports this in surprising ways. Studies of perception reveal that the brain does not passively record reality, it actively predicts it. Your nervous system constantly projects expectations into the environment, shaping what you see, what you notice, and what you attract. This means your future is not waiting to unfold. It is being constructed moment by the state you inhabit. The body is not a passenger, it is the builder. The field is not an external force, it is a mirror responding in real time. To live in delay is to construct delay. To live in coherence is to construct coherence. This is also why people can touch the God state briefly in meditation, and then lose it when they open their eyes. The moment they return to checking the mirror, asking, "Has it worked yet?" they leave coherence and step back into waiting. They slip into the trap of delayed reality without even noticing. The challenge is not accessing the God state, it is remaining there when life tests you, when circumstances seem unchanged, when the mirror has not yet caught up. To live in the hidden science of manifestation, you must reverse the sequence. Stop waiting for proof before you embody. Embody first, and proof inevitably follows. And this brings us to the final revelation, the vision that closes the loop. If the field mirrors state instantly, then the true mastery is not about rituals, techniques, or endless effort. It is about living permanently in the God state, where coherence is not something you practice occasionally, but something you are in every moment. The question that remains is this: how do you step beyond practice into permanence? That is the secret we are about to unlock. The way to live the hidden science of quantum manifestation every single day. The hidden science of quantum manifestation is not hidden because it is complicated. It is hidden because it is simple, and simplicity is the last thing the restless mind accepts. The mind craves complexity, endless steps, long rituals, secret formulas. But the truth has been here all along. Reality collapses according to your state of being, not your words, not your waiting, not your desperate attempts to convince the field. The God state is not an achievement. It is a remembrance. It is not something you reach for, it is something you live from. To live in the God state every day means to invert the order of life as you have been taught. Most people allow the external world to dictate their internal state. If the bank account looks full, they feel secure. If the relationship feels stable, they feel worthy. If the body is healthy, they feel grateful. But this is a reversal of the true mechanics. Outcomes are reflections, not sources. When you allow reflections to control your state, you become a slave to the mirror. The hidden science asks you to reverse this order. Choose coherence first, choose embodiment first, and the mirror has no choice but to follow. This is not denial, it is creation. Science tells us that perception itself is predictive, that your brain and nervous system are actively building the future you experience. Spirituality tells us the same in different language. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you live this way, the future is no longer delayed, it unfolds with you, as you. Every breath becomes alignment, every thought becomes coherence, every action becomes embodiment. You stop practicing manifestation, and you start living it. And here is the liberation. Permanence does not mean perfection. Challenges still arise, life still tests, the world still shifts. But in the God state, you no longer lose yourself when the mirror seems slow to respond. You remain coherent. You breathe, you embody, and the field eventually aligns. The test of permanence is not whether storms stop coming, but whether you remain centered when they do. Living the hidden science every day means refusing to be dragged back into waiting, into longing, into lack. It means choosing coherence again and again until it becomes the only language your body speaks. This is not just an individual practice. It is a collective movement. Every person who embodies coherence strengthens the resonance in the field, making it easier for others to remember. Each breath you take in coherence contributes to a ripple beyond yourself. This is why community matters. This is why anchoring your state through ritual and shared declaration matters. The hidden science is not a personal trick. It is a universal law. And when more of us live it daily, the mirror of the world begins to reflect a new frequency for all. To take this further, to anchor these truths beyond inspiration and into practical daily embodiment, I created something for you. The ebook, Awaken Your Quantum Power, along with a companion practical guide. Inside, you will find the exercises and frameworks to live coherence, to practice it until it becomes your natural state, and to experience the God state not as a concept, but as a lifestyle. The link is in the pinned comment below. Explore it, embody it, let it guide you deeper. Because the hidden science of quantum manifestation is not about discovering something outside of you. It is about remembering who you have always been. You are not waiting for the door to open. You are the door. You are not begging the mirror to change. You are the change. And when you live this every day, not as effort but as identity, the universe has no choice but to reflect the truth of what you have become. Coherence embodied, the God state revealed.